Hello, hello. Happy Thursday, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Nathan Hunter. I'm with the Bronx River Alliance, and I'm excited to be with you all again today for another week of acknowledging our elders. And hey, air horn.
I hope you guys are doing well on this beautiful spring day, Thursday, right? My name is Journey Gimwala. I am a clinical herbalist. I'm also co-chair of the Foodway and member of Concrete Friends.
Yes. And today we are joined by a special guest. We're really excited to be with Zakiyah. Zakiyah, welcome to Acknowledging Our Elders. Want to
Thank
introduce
you.
yourself?
Sure. Hello. My name is Zakiyah Sayyed. I am from Brooklyn, New York. I am a lover of the Foodway and the folks at Bronx River Alliance. I work with the Hope Program with some of our different sustainability projects. So I'm so happy to be here today.
Awesome. We are so excited you're here with us today. And what plant are you introducing us to today? What plant Kim is in the room with us?
So the plant that I chose is the aloe plant. And I just love aloe. um, it is really easy to take care of. It also has a lot of health benefits. So yeah, I like aloe a lot.
When did you first find that you are drawn to aloe, or when did you first acquire your aloe plant? I know we've got a photo here.
Yeah, so I yes, that's my current aloe plant. um, I when I was younger, I was really into cacti. I don't know. I was just like, I love the sun. I love warmth. What? There's plants that grow in the desert. They're so cool. So I kept telling my mom like, I want a cactus. I want a cactus. I want a cactus. And she was probably thinking like, okay, this is a pretty good intro plant, right, for her to take care of because it doesn't need so much attention, as some other plants do. So, my first plant was an aloe plant. So that's why I am so connected to it. Yeah.
That is awesome. I feel like aloe plant has been kind of that buddy for a lot of us, who's been like our best friends, our introduction to plants, maybe because they're so resilient. Um, I remember we were talking about our own practice of self care, and as that relates to the relationship with our plants. How does that feel for you, or what does that look like for you?
Um. Well, one, I just think it's fascinating to look at, right? So like it's a plant that doesn't need a lot of water, but then when you cut it open, it's just like oozing with all of this wonderful juice. So that to me is just kind of mind-boggling a bit. Um, and then I mean, I use it, I connect to it in terms of taking care of myself in terms of burns and scrapes. So I definitely use it for that. I just burnt myself on a heat pipe like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, oh yeah, I have an aloe plant. And I like ran over to use it. And I was thinking like, you only remember this plant when you need this plant. And this plant is taking better care of you than you are of this plant. So yeah, I just had a moment with myself in the aloe plant, but I was definitely grateful for it and its healing purposes. It did help me a lot.
I appreciate that. Um, I also appreciate just the kind of the fact that it oozes, right? When it conserves that water for those moments when you need it. Um, talk about generosity. I know in the office here we have aloe plants, and they all have little babies like shooting out from the bottom of them. And I just think of like the aloe plant as being that plant that is super generous, like you're mentioning.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I love that you framed it that way because, yeah, it's definitely giving a lot.
Zakia, you mentioned about well, Nathan started with the whole self care, and then you
Hey, Journey, I'm just gonna interrupt real fast. You're kind of quiet. If you can move a little closer to the mic.
Oh, you guys, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Is it
a
better?
little better.
So what I wanted to ask you, right? Have you ever tasted it raw?
Have I ever what? Say that one more time.
Did you taste it raw? The aloe.
Yeah, I did as a kid, and I remember it being like really bitter. Um, that is so something I would do. Thanks for bringing me back to that memory because I it wasn't at the front of my mind. But yeah, I have tasted it before, and it was very bitter and almost kind of felt like it was drying my tongue out at the time. I know that now it's used in drinks, and I've seen like all these little aloe drinks in the stores that have pieces of aloe in it. But yeah, the raw plant was bitter when I tasted it.
Yeah, there's a substance in the aloe, right, that give off that bitter flavor, that bitter taste to it. It's like a sap sort of that's there. That's like the gel itself, you won't get that from the gel itself, but that little liquid that it oozes sometimes will give you that bitterness, that type of taste to it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm not as informed about what people take it for internally. I know I've been seeing some videos in the last few years about people using it for hair, just like putting the aloe gel all over their hair to make their hair kind of just lush. And I know that it works well for skin and is in skin products. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. People do use it for the hair, and the reason why is like you mentioning oozing, right? How you can go a long time without watering it, but then when you cut it, it has all of this liquid, and that's what people are, is like that moistening. Any herbs, any plant that have a lot of liquid in them, whether it's in gel form or it's slimy, right? All of that is moistening. So when you're having dry hair, and you're using aloe, it's like you're adding back the moisture and the balance back into your hair, even with the skin. If you're having a dry condition, that that smoothness, that wetness of aloe, right, is what's going to cool the inflammation down. It's what's going to feed the skin to kind of help with the repair. So that's always an indication it's good for anything drying, right? Except for that bitter thing that kind of dried up your mouth, that bitter substance that it has in it that dried up your mouth a bit. Um, that's why also it's good for burn, right? In the herbal world, is known as an asthmatic herb. Asthmatic herbs are aloe type of plant that have a lot of water gel like this that is great for burns, to cool off the body and rehydrate the body. It's a really, really, really dope plant. If you have acne, all of these things, people use it for so many variety, including digestive issues. It helps with that too. Very cooling, right? Because as soon as you touch it, that wetness, it cools you off. So if you're hot, right? Desert have a lot of aloe, right? In the desert, holes in the water. You're hot, that will cool you off.
Yeah, it's amazing. The aloe plant is just amazing how much it gives to us.
Yeah, it is. And it's so funny because it's amazing, and because it's a low maintenance, we can easily, um, what's the word, neglect it. We can easily neglect it because it's such a low maintenance plant, right? Versus a bougie plant. I call plants that require a lot of attention, I call them bougie plants. Whereas, like, if you miss one day, 1 minute, you'll come back and that plant will be dead. So you tend to kind of stay on top of it a lot more than the plant that doesn't require that. You're like, oh, take care of himself, he'll be all right. And then as we keep doing that, it kind of gets neglected. And it kind of reminds us of, us too, right? Because we tend to do that with ourselves. We because we kind of, okay, I'm all right, I can do this later, I can do that later, even though we don't need as much maintenance or as much whatever it is, we tend to take that for granted and be like, I'll take care of it later. And then later come, you realize, oh my God, I haven't had water since this morning. I haven't ate anything all day, and it's now 11 o'clock at night. Now I'm wondering why I'm feeling weak and all of this kind of thing. So it reminds me of making sure that those things that are not high maintenance, that we still do put it into a priority of making sure it gets something right, so that it doesn't get ignored. That's what I get from these plants that have those little behaviors, and then how we respond to it. It always mimic how we respond to others. If you have a friend that highly talks, that it talks, but doesn't share as much as another, you may not be as thing to ask about a crush. You could be like, oh, she's fine. Or if you have a quote unquote strong friend, right? You won't check in that friend as much as someone you know who's constantly always in their emotions. So it's like that reminder of checking on ourselves and checking in on anybody that's like an aloe, that's very self-sufficient, doesn't need a whole lot of everything, always checking in to make sure that, I want to make sure I'm not neglecting my friendship, or I'm not neglecting myself, or anybody that falls into that kind of um, personality, so to speak.
Come on, I like that. I like that a lot. I imagine like maybe the first people to see aloe plant. Like I just imagine being in the desert and you see aloe, and it's like it's kind of prickly, you it's like it could be sharp, it could be dangerous. Like you could make a lot of assumptions about aloe, and then lo and behold, it's just like I have water for you. I have life for you. I have things to give you. So it could also teach us lessons about like how we treat each other and making assumptions about just like that quiet person over there, like you're saying. And just making assumptions because like Nathan said, aloe is so generous. But I think you wouldn't know that if you just like popped up in the desert and saw an aloe plant chilling there.
That is so true. Oh, you hit it on the nail with that. That is very, 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 very true. I like that.
It makes me think of my parent figures, like as a younger person, like who is focused in my own world, right? Remembering to like touch base with them because they gave me that life, they gave me that water, that like that support. And so I'm thinking about my elders right now and like how they often are forgotten about, or they provide so much to us into our community, and for them not to have and that reciprocity. They don't need it. They don't need a phone call every day, but they need a phone call, once a week maybe. And aloe is one of those things. You can't over care for it. And sometimes like I have family members, like elders who, if you pest, like if you're like, hey, are you okay? Like that phrasing, are you okay? Really triggers them. They're like, I'm fine, leave me alone. And I feel like aloe is a little bit like that where, she's like, I'm good. I only need water once. Like you can visit me once a week and that's it. I need my space. Like
Yes, yes, I totally agree. I was definitely that type of friend where it's like, don't pester me. Like, didn't I just see you last week? And why are you back? Didn't I just speak to you? Why am I seeing you again? That is definitely that type of plan. Which now that I kind of hear about it, because it's like that once a week is not as much. It kind of, that's what also makes it hard to remember, because it's not that often, you know. And we are used to things that happen a lot of times, so it becomes like routine. Like, okay, I know, tomorrow this, tomorrow that. But with aloe, with that once in a while type of thing, it's like easily kind of just like to the side. But what you say about our elders, and checking in on them, spending time with them, it doesn't have to be excessive. It's just they want to be known, like we know that they're still around, that there is this contact. Sometimes they just want you to be around. You don't even have to talk. They literally just want your presence. You don't have to say nothing to me. You don't have to do nothing for me. Just be seeing you here, because I remember in my house sometimes I will go visit grandma. Um, she wants her son there all the time, and then he was like, "But I go see her, and we do absolutely nothing. She's in her room, right? And then he's in the living room. There's absolutely no contact, but she just wants his presence. Know that he's somewhere in the house." That's it. But to the younger person, it's frustrating. It's like, oh, we don't even do anything. So it kind of reminds me of all of that stuff. Like we do have to take care of our elders, and this is also why I like this acknowledging our elders, because these plants are old. They've been here before us, right? And as we're acknowledging them, they're also giving us perspective into our own society and how we treat others and how to value ourselves and those who are around us, how to kind of be with one another, because we know the how we can use internally, but now we're also looking at their personality, the way that they are, and what does that mean to us, and then how they're actually transmuting that knowledge, right? These plants are giving us knowledge, they're sharing that knowledge with us, which is with the elders being able to do that too, allowing them to share their knowledge and pass it down to us, just like this plants will be such an amazing thing.
So real. I love these life lessons Aloe is teaching us. Also,
Yeah.
shout out to all those baby aloes that were given to us as the first plant in our life and held on.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm like that. When I get plants, I like to get plants that are self-sufficient, independent, because I am just not. I won't be able to water you every day. I just won't. I want you to be just like me. You can take care of yourself, and then every now and then I can come and check on you, and then we're good. Because if not, you're gonna die. You're gonna die in my house. And I don't want to see anybody die. So I only get plants that don't require too much attention.
Ditto, ditto. I like those kinds of relationships for sure.
Yeah, somebody feel get I feel bad, like, oh my God, I killed another plant. Oh, I forgot to water it yesterday. I really do feel bad because I feel like you've trusted me, right? Because when I take a plant in, even when I'm foraging, you're giving me something. You're trusting me with your existence, that I will do what I'm supposed to do to keep you alive while you're in my home, which is also your home. Because out of nature, you're good. So if I'm going to take you in, then I have to take on that responsibility seriously, because it is still a living thing. It has needs and all of these things. So I don't want to hurt it. So I'm like, I can't have too many death plants. That's the wrong energy.
So true. Well, Zakiyah, I feel like this is different than our previous acknowledging our elders, and I think in the best way possible. Like this is such a meta plant for us today, which has really allowed me to kind of like tap into, okay, I need to call my parents. Like, oh, I need to I need to check in with myself later, like, and see how I'm doing, that self-care moment. So appreciate you bringing our aloe plantkin into the space today.
No, and I appreciate you all because I mean, it just as this conversation is evolving, I'm thinking about things that I haven't thought about before, right? And as we're making all these connections, like Journey is saying, like how much plants can teach us about ourselves and about how to treat each other. That's something that we don't think about often. I don't think about often. So I appreciate the space to have this conversation. So yeah. Whoop, whoop. And during Earth Week, I feel really special.
You should.
You surely are special, Zakiyah. Wondering, as we kind of round up this conversation, any last thoughts that you want to share out about the aloe plant?
Why don't I just give thanks to the aloe plant? I want to give thanks to the aloe plant, and what it's created for all of us, because we all have these stories that we connect to with the aloe plant. So giving thanks to the aloe plant, giving thanks to our elders who taught us about the aloe plant and the different healing capacities that it has. Yeah, just showing gratitude and gratefulness to the plant. So
Absolutely. I totally agree with you in saying, to just simply give thanks. I give thanks to the aloe plant. I give great thanks to you for bringing us the aloe plant so that we can have this conversation who kind of just had its own thing going, kind of just like the aloe. So I appreciate you for that. Thank you so much.
So before we split for the day, Journey and I wanted to share out with folks who are following. What are some plants that you can head out to the Foodway, the space behind me at Concrete Plant Park, and actually do some foraging? So I'm gonna pull up a quick slide just to share with y'all what is ready. What are some wild weeds or wild foods that you can harvest?
Ooh, look at this. So, as you guys are seeing on the screen, there's quite a few things to forage here. So, the first picture is the chickweed, right? Stellaria media. There's plenty of those. It's an edible plant, it's a medicinal plant. You can have it in a salad, you can cook it like you cook spinach. Taste it, it's not bitter. It's also great for the skin. Then we have underneath dandelion. Dandelion, you can use all parts, the flower, the roots, the leaves, right? You can stir fry the all parts. You can roast the roots as a replacement for coffee. It's great as a liver detoxifier. The flower head, you can put some batter and fry them suckers and enjoy it. You can make great tea with it, simple syrup. I mean, the list goes on. Then we have dead nettle. If any one of you guys is suffering for allergies, right? That's the plant you want. You want to have you some dead nettle. So definitely get it. Again, that's another one that's also edible, so you can cook it. It does have a green taste. A green taste just means that chlorophyll, right? You're gonna taste chlorophyll in it. You can just dry it up and make tea. At the end of the day, any of these herbs, you can just dry it up to use for tea later, right? Then you have common purple violet. That one is the flower tastes really good. None of these plants have a bitter taste, so you're not going to have a bad time with the flavor. Just become really creative with them. There is no look-alike in the park, so don't worry about accidentally getting the wrong plant, because if you get the wrong plant, even if it's not the plant in here, it's not gonna poison you, nor would it be deadly. So you're definitely in good hand when you come into concrete. Then we have cleavers, right? Gallium apirin. And cleavers are very clingy. You'll feel it as soon as you touch it, but they are a great lymphatic cleanser. That's one you can cook it for sure, but you can try it up for tea. You can juice it. Put it in your juicer, mix it with some ginger and some lemon. You'll have yourself a really great healthy drink. So I invite you guys to actually go to the Concrete Plant Park. Even if you just go to just look at the plant and take pictures and just familiar yourself with the plants, that's great. Later on, we'll have more information to probably give you guys different ideas on what you can do. But just to get started, just go and see if you can even find them. Let's see if you can find them. Let's do some plant identification. Can you guys find any one of these plants? Take a picture on it. If you guys can even like hashtag the Foodway and the Bronx River Alliance when you find this, and you take a picture so we can kind of see if you guys are finding them. That would be awesome.
Yes, shout out to you, Journey, for just running through those top five really fast. And I definitely uplift the fact you can tag us on Instagram, or even just tag us here on Facebook with the photos, and we can verify that what you saw was what you thought you saw. Yeah, great way to learn together. We shouldn't be learning alone. So really appreciate this moment to kind of like reflect on what's growing at the Foodway. And I will also just say you're doing us a favor if you pick some of these things. They're growing pretty fast. One thing we want to be mindful of is just confirming again what you're eating. There are no lookalikes for these, but just confirming before eating. And currently, we only really encourage you to forage from the Foodway, because we know that that has clean soil. We're testing it actually today. We're testing it again for toxic metals and things, just to make sure the space is safe. But it's all imported soil, and we keep it clean using mulch and other top dressings for the soil. So really grateful for this little moment. And again, want to thank you, Zakiyah, for joining us, and Journey, as always. And we'll be together again next Thursday, same time, same place. And we'll be joined by Infinite, mystery plant to be named. Keep you guessing. But
Thank you, and happy Earth Week.
happy Earth Week, y'all. Talk soon.
Bye-bye.